My biggest fear when it comes to terrorism is the future possibility that these terrorist groups may have access to advanced destructive weapons, like the electromagnetic pumps, for instance. Especially that by the year 2050, the exponential growth of Muslims around the globe is projected to increase. And I certainly don't have a problem with that, because I'm Middle Eastern and I have been surrounded by Muslims my entire life. But the problem is also because Islam has really multiple interpretations, and one of them is the extreme interpretation that these violent people are adopting. Like, for instance, so you can tell that by the year 2050, the exponential growth of these terrorist groups will also increase. So how is the world prepared for that right now? You can tell, like, you can take a country like the US, for instance, and you can tell that by the year 2050, they will just keep adding more names to their patterns of global terrorism. They will keep conducting more operations using Delta Force and other forces, and that's it. It's kind of like military preparations, and that's it. But for me, this isn't really the way to face terrorism. This is not really a way to end it. It's just kind of like an endless process that they are keep fighting and you keep fighting them back. It's just like that. But especially that the root of this problem isn't really violence as much as it's ignorance. And I understand that if you say politicians have an influence on the existence of terrorist groups, and you can trace that back to the Soviet Union, actually. But I personally came from a political family myself, so I think I kind of like understand how politicians think. They're not really creating terrorist groups from scratch. They're not really creating terrorism from scratch. They are using what is already there. If United States entered a war against Sweden, for instance, you can tell that the utilization of this method or this strategy won't be a viable option. And this is something that the Middle Easterns themselves don't understand, because they keep making all of these political revolutions, because they think that the root of their problems is political. I believe that the only way to end terrorism, not to fight them, not with political revolutions, to change the Middle East and to end terrorism as well, what the Middle East really need is to have one intellectual revolution.